Okay. Hey, folks. This is an impromptu live session. I wasn't planning on doing this. Hey, Patrick. Um, but this is going to be something fun that I haven't done before. And let me just fix a couple things on here so I can see, oops, the chat. Pop up the chat. There we go. As many of you know, I disabled the comments on my YouTube videos a while ago. That was a while ago. I lost track of how long it's been. ALR, why are they so difficult? Totally. But I did that. The comment section on the butcher videos, totally. The reason I did that a while ago was I just got tired of reading the comments and I just wanted to see if it made any difference. Not that I don't value the community of people here, and there's lots of great people here. But I did it just as kind of an experiment for myself and just to see, because to be honest, it was tough for a while. I would read like all these sort of hateful comments, people just like saying nasty things and just being annoying. Yeah, sorry if you can hear that in neighbor's impact drill. But I got tired of reading it. So I just wanted to take them down for a while and see if it would be better for me to not have them. And I found that not having them for a while meant that I didn't spend any time reading them, which was good for me. However, that time away has allowed me to kind of step back from it a bit more, and I kind of look at it a bit more objectively. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read all the comments at once in a YouTube session like this once a month. And so today is a Wednesday, so I'm planning on doing this every, what would it be? It's the 18th today. I'm going to do it again on the 16th of October, and then I'm going to do it again on the 13th of November, so on and so forth. You'll see me here live. And basically what I've done is I've just taken screenshots of a bunch of comments, and I'm just going to kind of plow through them, and we'll see how it goes. And then if there's time, and I'm sure I'll just talk about the comments here as they pop up. But hey, all, thanks for joining me. And yes, please hit the thumbs up, share the video, like it. It helps with the analytics. And I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to share my screen here, and you guys can see what I'm doing. So I've shared, where is it here? There's my page. I've basically, yeah, you should be able to see that now. Let me know if you can. See if it pops up here in the YouTube. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these and answer these questions. So Tom says Curtis should get a Nobel Prize for small-scale farming. Thank you, Tom. Ryan Willett says, if you want to use cannabis, that's a personal decision, but I think bringing it to your content taints your overall message. Taints it for who? You? Okay, whatever. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch my stuff, man. It's one thing, you get comments like this, and it's like, I am who I am. I'm not going to not be myself. If I wanted to do that, I would have gotten into acting or something like that. But I am who I am, and if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. Eddie says, hi, this is Eddie. Your microgreen video is very helpful and inspiring, and this practice promote healthy lifestyle. I have a question though. What can you do after harvesting the microgreens? Can you seed, regrow 7 times? No, you throw the flat in the compost and then you plant them again. And I'm going to be more brief with these ones than I am on the from the field ones. And actually, if there's any from the field members watching, that is going to be a podcast because I can't do the live session tomorrow. I've got some other stuff going on. But all the from the field questions will be pre-recorded and a podcast on the site like they have been over the year. David Larson says the ALR. So this is a comment to my ALR video. Is a good idea. They just need to properly fix it. The crap in the lower mainland where people buy the best farmland and build 10,000 square foot home and grow hay in the backyard is BS. It's sad what happened to the rusted rake, but how can you invest so much money into your business and not know the rules? They spent $100K on a brewery, actually $150,000, and you can't get a license. They built a restaurant and they can't. and they can't build a house to live in. Sounds like they didn't read. Actually, no, you're wrong, dude. I don't think you read the details. They had to apply for their license, and when they did that, whatever the commission that they were working with said, go ahead and start it. And so they did that. They did everything that they were supposed to do, and then they got denied. So it's not because they didn't read the rules. The ALR is a terrible idea. The more I've looked into it, it's terrible. And this whole thing that's funny that people say, the big problem in the Lower Mainland is the best farmland is being used for development. It's like, where in the world does that not happen? Every single city in the world, except a few cases here and there, they're either on a port or they're surrounded by ag land. And there's a reason for that. It's because farms used to feed people in the direct cities. So like New York City, Los Angeles is surrounded by farms. God, every city I've been to in the US, unless it's like a total port city, is surrounded by farms. So it's nothing exclusive to Vancouver about this whole thing with the ALR. And the fact that they're punishing all these other farmers because people in the Lower Mainland are doing something, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think there's a lot of comments about that in here, so we'll get into it more. Josh, do the greens grow back without planting again? So he's referring to that. Yeah, they do. Super cool adventure show. Canada is oppressive to women. How is it more oppressive to women than anybody else? Canada's just oppressive. Canada's we're like soft fascism here, I would say, because of things like political correctness and quotas. I would actually say it's probably less oppressive to women because you get somebody like Justin Trudeau who hires half of his cabinet based on diversity quotas. So I'm not so sure about that. I think Canada's oppressive to everybody equally. Deborah Mullins, I'm in the US. It seems that the answer to the world's problems is smaller government. I would certainly agree with that. No question about it. This is a funny one. Snooky Girl says, I wish President Trump could watch this. Why would you want President Trump to watch a video about the BC ALR? What's that got to do with him? Whitney J, I've got nothing against the wine industry whatsoever. Are you just bootlicking? Whoa. The wine industry is obviously controlling the narrative. Now this governing body won't allow these model citizens to develop and grow their own property. It's so funny when people come in with questions like that. It's like, we're obviously on the same side, but then she's got to like insult me because I'm not hardcore enough for her. It's like these kinds of questions, these kinds of comments. It's so funny with comments. And it's part of the reason why I disabled them in the first place is like, there's no skin in the game. People just talk shit. Lots of people make good comments and ask valid questions too, but people just talk shit because they don't have any, like, nobody would walk up to you and say that, right? But people would say it in this. So folks, we are in an era where there isn't even an attempt at hiding the corruption. People have been rolling over for so long on so many levels that people in places of authority have completely lost the ability to be fair and reasonable. I agree with all this. They have now openly betrayed the good health and well-being of the masses on so many levels that instead of doing something in a positive direction, they are working with good and all of social media to shut down those and take the time to interrupt. Yeah, man, I agree with you. Why are you insulting me? Tom, if British Columbia would just allow itself to be annexed to the US, all these problems would disappear. Oh, I'm sure that's the single thing that would solve all our problems there, Tom. BC was really meant to be part of the USA, but in 1846, our President Polk gave up British Columbia to the British so that he could focus on fighting a war in Mexico to get California and Mexico. That could be true. But they're actually, one thing I'm going to be doing with some of these farmers in the ALR, we're going to be doing a workshop. Dates and places aren't announced yet, but I'm bringing a gentleman named Cal Washington down there who is an expert in common law. And we're actually going to go back to some common law and find and reveal that there actually is no British Columbia government. And we're gonna allow these. We're gonna make sure these farmers can basically tell the ALR to go stuff itself, because the ALR actually doesn't even have any legitimacy as a government institution. It's not. There's no certified true copy of it. It's not approved by the Queen. Canada is a monarchy, and all law that is meant to be to have jurisdiction has to be signed by the Queen, and the ALR doesn't have that, so it actually has no jurisdiction. So we're actually going to go to the root of this. And so that's going to be something that I probably won't do a lot of content on because it's controversial, and it's one of these things that's like, it's a red pill thing. If you get the red pill, You can never go back, and it's not for everybody, because if you talk about that stuff too much, people hate you, because it's like Morpheus says in the Matrix, it's not the Matrix itself you have to worry about. It's all the people that are switched on to it and try to take anybody down who has something else to say. Okay, next comment. This is for the top 5 profit crops. It's hemp and cannabis, not these. Oh, okay, funny. Yeah, nobody would have guessed that, but no, dude, that's not what we're talking about. And it's actually like, maybe, but people seem to think that I'm growing weed like commercially. It's like, I've never grown weed commercially. I've grown weed for myself for a long time, but I've never done it commercially, and nor have any interest in doing it commercially. Hemp, perhaps, because that seems to be a more of an open marketplace. But for THC, man, it's so regulated, and there's so many barriers to entry. Brett Van Sant, I don't understand. So he's commenting on the ALR video too. I don't understand, however, why the group of people who complain are not involved in shaping the organization. I hear more and more people just acting like crybabies and then asking for things to be different, yet they don't get involved in both sides from the political spectrum. Stop bitching and get involved. Yeah, okay, dude. So how's a farmer going to do that? Farmers have farming to do. So you're suggesting that they just stop farming and then go fight the ALR and spend their entire lives writing policy? Dude, people have farms to run. Your comment is a total nothing burger. It doesn't provide any value at all. You seem to be the only one doing bitching. Fady Shia, where do you get sunflower seeds from? Man, I've talked about this so many times, you guys. Just use the search. Put seeds into my channel and you'll get the answer. Realize lies. Another comment on the ALR video. Not opposed to globalism and then change. So she's commenting that I said sort of off the cuff that I'm not opposed to globalism. I'm not a globalist, you guys. This is where like people on the right get fucking crazy. It's like, I'm with you for a lot of things. I'm also with some lefties with some things. It's like, relax, take it easy. Like this is where like you can go so far down the rabbit hole and you think everything's a conspiracy. You'll be opposed to it in the near future, guaranteed that, and most certainly your children will be devastated by it. Why do you want everybody producing alcohol? It's like, so this person is like on my side, but they insult me, and it's like, man, you guys, pick your battles. Landon Thomas. Oh, here we go. I'm so disappointed you've become such a disgruntled libertarian. Who's pissed at everything. No, I'm not. I have my own ambitions of getting into spin farming, syrup production, and hardware production. I've been relying on you for quite a lot of inspiration, ideas, advice, and ideas. It's so disconcerting that to hear you've regressed. Oh yeah, he's so enlightened. So much to the point where you've become a Bernier supporter. This must have been the guy who wrote me an email. It looks like the same. Oh, he's all butthurt that I don't share his politics. It's like, I'm not sure you're specifically saying you've pissed at the NDP or not. The NDP/Green confidence and supply is what's in power right now. So I'm assuming you are on a national scale. Transporting regulations limit the level of weight and trust. Man, whatever. You're getting caught in the weeds. Yeah, okay, yeah. We don't have the same politics. Like, get over it. Like if you can't see past somebody for having a different opinion than you on a specific issue, and then you have to throw everything else out because of that, then that's on you, dude. I don't care if you don't like my politics. Tough shit. That's your problem. Okay, let me look at the comments here. What do we got? Curtis Stone and Jordan Peterson, incredible duo. See you in Mesa. Hey, right on, man. Hey, we've been selling tickets for this, you guys. Get your tickets quick because it's going to sell out fast. It's already selling fast. Yeah, the comment section on the bud trimming video was funny. Lucky me sitting down to feed the baby. Hey, thanks, Mom. Good to see more women breastfeeding and being proud moms about that. I'm all about that. My wife and I were commenting the other day. We've been having some issues with the library here. They've been having drag queen story time, which we are not into at all. But we noticed it's strange that there's very few children's books that have mothers breastfeeding in them. Like every kid's book we have at home here, or that we get from the library, or that we've bought, none of it has a mom breastfeeding. Whenever it talks about a baby feeding or something like that, or something with the family, it's always holding a bottle. Isn't that strange, hey? It's like you'd think that breastfeeding should be the de facto norm, not a bottle. And if some people are offended by that, like I read some social justice warrior article about how it's exclusive to say that mothers breastfeed and that only women can breastfeed. It's like, so what? That's just the truth. It's the reality. Like every mammal in nature. What else have we got in here? Yeah, you're probably right, Patrick. You're probably talking about my comments. Like it will boost your engagements on your video. That can help your channel grow. Totally. It does. And it has. But, you'll see as we get, I'm actually going to show you guys some of the comments that are like in the hidden section. So YouTube will filter automatically comments that come out that are like really aggressive language or like lots of swear words. YouTube filters them and then it goes to the section called held for review or likely spam. And so I can actually look at both of those. And some of them end up, I don't know why they're filtered and I just end up approving them. But you'll see some of them are just nuts. What else? Yeah, thanks guys. Good stuff. Good stuff. Canada is oppressive. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get back to my thing. I need to come down to Miami. This bunch of family farms. Yeah, I'd love to go to Miami. I've been to Florida tons, but I've actually never been to Miami, believe it or not. So let's keep going because I'm not going to be here for much longer. Where are we here? Okay, that whole long thing. Daniel Green, the stuff wasn't even finished. Looked like, yeah, man, I got my own way of trimming buds. You guys trust me. I've been doing it long enough. I think I know what I'm doing. Problem we have here is that if you're growing outdoor, we start to get a lot of rain. Like we've got a little bit of a break right now, but it's basically been raining solid for 48 hours. With like we had 36 hours straight rain, and then we had these little breaks. So the problem when you grow outdoor is that as the buds mature, you get hammered with all this rain, and then they start to rot. And so you have to harvest before it gets that way. And so that's a big part of the reason why I harvest those buds. Here, I'll show you guys a dried one. Give me a second. Here, I'll stop that share for a second. Here's some of the stuff just finishing up. There's one that's, I'm not a hardcore trimmer. I'm a little bit lazy with it, but these are some nice buds, man. I don't know what people are talking about, thinking that they're harvested too early. Like there's lots of good stuff in there. I don't know what all these haters are tripping on. Okay, anyways, go back to our share here. Okay, here we go. Gavin Matthews, done. Comments back. Interesting. Yep. Shannon Hudson, is Curtis a climate change denier? No, because the climate always changes. So I think it's actually technically impossible to deny the climate is changing. I think certainly what I deny is sending trillions of dollars to government bureaucrats in Europe is going to do anything about it. That's what I deny. I deny the politics behind it. This whole fear-mongering nonsense that I've heard my entire life of AOC going, we got 12 years to live. It's like 12 years till extinction. It's like, no. People have been saying that forever. We're gonna be just fine. Not that there aren't things we could change and do better, for sure. But so I don't and the whole climate change denier thing is so sketchy. It's just like Holocaust denier. It's like anybody who criticizes or anti-Semitic or whatever. It's like anybody that criticizes billionaire guys like George Soros or whoever gets called an anti-Semite. It's like that's just a tactic to shake them from criticism. It's actually very suspicious when people do that. And so that's why I'm suspicious about the whole climate change thing to begin with, is that because all these politics have been played for so long, I find it's very suspicious that we have this whole fear of, oh my God, he's a climate change denier. It's just manipulating the narrative. Okay, another one on the ALR video. Michelle Lee. Unfortunately, it seems this video does not share the full story. Bill 52 went a long way to preserving farmland from speculation by mansion builders and protecting farmland from illegal dumping. Farmland, particularly in Lower Mainland. Yeah, and that's exactly it, Michelle. That's the point you're missing here, sister, is it's all about the Lower Mainland. It's not about anybody else. And so that's kind of the message here. Was seen as a cash cow by farmland owners, not farmers. That doesn't mean to say these bills couldn't use tweaking. Of course they could use tweaking. How about just get rid of them? Because the longer you tweak, the longer you managers and bureaucrats and politicians tweak, the more it causes misery for farming families. So I don't know. Do you actually farm? Do you actually know? Do you have skin in the game here, or are you just commenting? As someone whose family owns in the ALR, so your family does, I want to see farmland preserved for farming, and my farming friends don't want to see farmland overvalued with mansions. You know, part of the reason why farmland is so overvalued in the Lower Mainland is because there's a scarcity of this is economics 101. It's called supply and demand. Perhaps you've heard of it. When you create a scarcity of a particular resource, the price goes up. That's exactly what the ALR has done. So if you're freaking out about the price of farmland going up, do you think government's going to be able to fix that? No, it can't. Government can't control supply and demand metrics. The reason farmland is so overvalued is because there's such few land available for development because some of it is stuck in the ALR. It's simple economics. Hello. So I'm not going to read the rest of that comment. It's going to piss me off. But not really. So a comment to Michelle is saying that there's no way the farm is growing the amount of food they're serving. It's very early here. It also does not imply that government made them build a brewery. Of course it doesn't. You guys are missing the point. Another comment to that video. Curtis, I live in America. Why don't you understand that corporations own the government? Dude, I understand that, and I actually understand that corporations are the government. The government is a corporation. At least in Canada, Canada is a corporation. You should brush up on your common law. So here's another person that is probably on my side who is attacking me because I'm not hardcore enough for them. So I think we're more alike than not. We just disagree on who the big bad is. If people in America had real democracy, real self-organization, proper self-regulation, you would see that the real monsters are. Yeah, and so you say real self-organization, self-regulation. I like that, but it seems like you believe in government. So that's not self, that's government. The ones who care about profit over our rights to live in the farmland, the ones who don't care about polluting the food and water. Yes, government is the tool at which they use, but the problem is the corporate oligarchy in the country. Dude, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I think you just haven't gone down the rabbit hole as far as I have, brother, because corporations are a government. Government is a corporation. In Canada, Canada is a corporation. It's written right in the laws. It's all there. The U.S. actually is the perfect system. It's been corrupted, in my opinion. The U.S. Constitution is a true document where you have government by law. Like you have instead of rule by politicians or corporations like we have in Canada. Light Dark says this channel is really slowed down and it's pot to blame. No, it's family and the fact that I post most of my work at frontoffield.farm. It's not pot. I've been smoking weed forever, dude. Nothing new. So just a dude, man. So why aren't you writing a revised bill? Because I have a family and other things to do, dude. That's probably why. Max Lieberman. I was doing research on how small farmers don't make a living in the U.S. I remembered your videos. You said that you make 100K farming a small plot. Now it all makes sense. Yeah, never heard that one before. Okay. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Can you guys see why sometimes I disable the comments? How ridiculous some of this stuff is. This is an old video that somebody commented on about my berries. They are stealing them unless they have explicitly stated they are for the taking. Unless you have explicitly stated they're for the taking, those folks are thieves. Yeah, whatever. So I have these berry bushes. The whole front of my property is edible. And I did it intentionally. I did it so that if people want to eat some berries, they can. Do I have a sign saying eat berries? No, because I want to pick some of them too. But I see people picking them all the time, and I smile. I think it's funny because I often see people that they think that they're stealing them, which I find amusing. And so, are they thieves? Yeah, maybe. Do I care? Not really, because they're not harming me, and I've put them there intentionally. Another one. So now you're getting into the marijuana business. No, dude, it's legal to grow weed up here. A lot of gardeners grow weed. How many times do I have to say this to these people? Okay, so this is a comment on that video I did about my farm when it was a quarter acre. This video title says 100K on a quarter acre. That does sound like an outlandish claim, but I do not have sufficient facts to reach a judgment. Perhaps this man did achieve that for some period of time. I wish there was a way to really know if some level of revenue in this range is feasible. I wish some reliable institutions such as government, college, or agriculture would attempt to participate what the man in the video claims to achieve. Okay, dude. And then I like Dustin's comment here, brother, you don't want the government sticking their hands in everything. I agree, Dustin. Thank you. Jamie Diaz, I thought Canadians were better than Americans. What made you think that? People are people everywhere, man. I don't like Sweden to me is an insane country, but the people are great. People are people. I can't believe anybody has to think about that for a second anymore. Insane. Hack Yulo says, hey, I'd love to meet you and see your place. Is that possible? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Don't come to my house, you guys. I had a problem with that a couple years ago, and I made a video about it, and nobody has since, so thank you. I'm sorry, but you guys in Canada vote for this crap constantly. Dude, you guys vote for the same shit in the U.S. You guys had Obama for 8 years. Get over yourself. Robert McLean, I'm convinced that people should just walk away from society and government. Childish and impractical dream, I know. Well, I think it's actually possible. That's what I'm going to hope to discuss with Cal Washington next month in the Lower Mainland. There's actually a way to do it, and it's actually totally legal, and people do it. Hey, Curtis, I have a ton of questions / comments that might be suited for email. Would you mind sharing your email? Dude, you can find my email, okay? I'm not giving it away. If you're not resourceful enough to find my email, then no. And honestly, if you got a ton of questions, I don't have a ton of time. I have 0 time, and I'm giving some of it away free here. So I'm doing the best I can. And if you want to get more of my personal take on things, join fromthefield.com. You can support my work there, and you can get access to a whole community of almost 3,000 people and a ton of in-depth content. And I answer questions for members every single week explicitly. So join From the Field if you want that. And actually, honestly, guys, like I rarely answer emails. Like I answer probably out of 50 emails, I probably answer 10. So what's that? 20%. I just get so many emails, people sending me questions. Hi, sweetie. And I just don't have the time. So I do the best I can. Hey, Curtis, I'm farming pastured poultry here in the Caribou region of BC. Sweet. Bill 52 affects us because I want to build a second home for my wife and daughter on the property I own with my parents, but C52 won't allow it. Also, the permit I got from Poultry Marketing Board allows you to raise 2,000 broilers a year, but I'll see what I can do once I get to those numbers. Thanks for bringing the issue to light. Hey, thank you, man. That's a nice comment. George Campbell, solar panels work better if you point them at the sun. Oh, thanks, George. Yeah, they are pointing at the sun. And I covered that. People think it's so funny how fucking dumb some people are. And like, yes, I know my solar panels aren't directly up towards the sun. The reason for that is I would have less panels. If I put them on my roof and I had them angled like this one would shade this one, you guys. So I have them angled like this, like on our roof facing the south this way. That way I can have more panels, and our sun is higher in the sky during the summer season here, which gets maximum efficiency at the most important time of the year. In the winter, we have clouds and snow. So if I wanted to angle them like this to the sun, I could only have 1 row of panels, which would be half of the panels I have, and it would be less effective. So come on. Okay, there's lots of comments going on here. What are we doing here? Hey man, yeah, that's fine. You can disagree with my politics all you like. I don't care what people think about my politics. I'm gonna be myself. Oh, I love you so much, Violet. Is the membership from the fields open? It is. If you follow the link in this video, it's both. I think there's the steadfast link. Just go in the show notes. It is. There's one that's a live link. You can go to that one, and if you want to sign up. So yes, you can. You would be surprised how many alt-right folks in the U.S. think liberals simply are incapable of earning a living with a business. It's completely untrue. I agree with you there, man. I mean, at the same time, uh, the people that are the most toxic in my world are, I don't call them liberals because I consider myself a liberal. I call them lefties, like leftists, like hardcore leftists who think big government is the solution for everything. Those people scare me, man. Right on, B Palmer. Good for you, man. Have you ever seen a black small government advocate, engineer turned small farmer, super like a white Canadian small government advocate, farmer guru? Now I've seen everything. A black small government super like a white Canadian. I mean, if this, see, oh, I don't know, I don't understand this comment, but I've certainly seen black small government people. Have you ever heard of Thomas Sowell? Have you ever heard of Walter Williams, Larry Elder, Candace Owens? There's a ton of black small government people out there. Um, Farmers, I actually know a couple. I'm not going to out them though because they're not public figures. But yeah, if you're trying to imply that all black people are on the left, I would say that's a very racist comment there, my friend. Um, Thanks for all you do, Curtis. I'm just reading the comments here, guys. I'm starting a hemp farm in Illinois this year. Your videos in the past year have been great, valuable resource. Keep with you and to hell with all the haters. Thanks, man. Here's another one. Climate change or no climate change, we humans still run through nature like a mad bull in a china shop. Humans are nature, dude. I don't agree with that at all. Anyways, okay, back to these because I got some funny ones too. Okay. Chris Wood, back to the ALR video. Hey, Curtis, it's happening here in Australia too. The politicians have waged war on the lower class, labeled all welfare recipients bludgers, including people on pensions. I have a small farm. I am not on welfare on my farm, and my part-time job is what my 3-year-old son and I survive on. Good for you. Now they're slowly bringing in the cash ban. Man, Australia is crazy. And claiming all small business and cash transactions are costing the government 23 billion. Yeah, of course it's fake figures. They just want to tax you more. But it gives them enough to make law regulating and now criminal code for any sale using cash money. I'm not saying it's unbelievable stuff, as this is the constant erosion of all of our rights. Our own constitution is being told by police it doesn't exist. But I'm fighting back, at least trying to get people's heads out of the sand and help retain what rights we have left. Right on, dude. Good for you, Chris. Chris, check out Max Egan. He's an Australian guy who's into all this free man stuff. And because you're a constitutional monarchy like Canada, you can actually opt out of the system. It's actually totally legitimate. There's a lot of people that do it. I've met many people that do it, and you can pick and choose which things you opt out of. So in what's written in the law in Canada here is there's a legal person and then there's a human being, and they're two different things. So your birth certificate, your driver's license, that's your legal person, that's your legal entity. You as flesh and blood, call it born of God, you are a human being. That's a different thing. Okay, my love. And they're two separate things in law. And the government doesn't own you, and they don't own your flesh and blood. They own your corporate citizenship. Like in Canada, our birth certificates are actually corporations. And believe it or not, the IRS actually in the US manage those corporations. And I know this for a fact because my old buddy, John Hofer, he cashed in his bond and the IRS sent him a check of like $100,000 or something like that. It's true. And if you go down the rabbit hole and you're willing to take the red pill, you'll find some stuff that will blow your mind. There's a guy on YouTube I watch. He's kind of this funny guy. He only's got like 6,000 YouTube subscribers. He's called Eternally Aware, and I think he's an Canadian dude, slight French accent, and he makes videos, and he just like on a whiteboard. It's really DIY, but he basically and breaks down all the laws and how there's all this language is used to manipulate people, and it's all a lie. It's like the Matrix. It's all a lie. And I think the only revolution that's really ever going to do anything is when people just decide to walk away from the king or the queen, and they basically go, no, you can have all that. We're going to do our thing. Instead of fighting or trying to get a particular government elected. The government only gets bigger. And it's like the old saying, no matter who you vote for, the government always gets in. Another one here. Curtis is wrong. Both the ALR and Bill 52 allow farmers to build a home on their land. Yeah, nobody said that, my friend. Nobody said that. We're talking about a second home in the case of families, or in the case of the Rusted Rake who had a restaurant and then wanted to build a home. That's what we're talking about. Listen. If you actually listen, you might learn something. Real News Channel. Where is your Ayn Rand shirt? You should be wearing it. A major lesson Ayn Rand taught was that government is incapable of managing an economy. That includes the agricultural economy. To me, this is just one small example of what takes place every day across the entire economic spectrum. And you think it's bad now, just wait until the collectivists take your guns away. You Canadians want to get pissed about something, then get pissed about gun rights. Dude, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, 100%. Willie Jimmy. Well, you know, Curtis, you soy boys voted. You soy boys voted for this ass sniffing libtard. I never voted for him. Look in the mirror. It's like, dude, it's such a, it's like, it's funny because like this guy would probably be on my side, but yet he wants to insult me because I'm not an American. It's like, dude, pick your battles, man. Pick your allies too. It's like, why talk shit? It's like we're probably agree on a lot of things. It's the same with like all these lefties too that come at me for stuff. It's like we would probably agree if we were at a party and we were talking about something else. We would probably agree on 9 out of 10 things. But you choose to find one thing that you find really disconcerting that I say, and then you drive at that. It's like, man, what happened to the unity? I came from the like punk rock scene in the early 90s, mid 90s, where it was like everything was about unity. It was like unity. It's like, whatever happened to that? It's like everybody's so out to just like ridicule and hate on each other. It's just crazy. So comments about my flats at Paper Pot Co. 160 for that. Was my phone possibly hacked and the price has changed to 89 a piece? Come on. Okay, don't buy it, man. And we're not charging that per piece, dude. Like, come on. I feel a conflict of interest in here. Really? It's conflict of interest to promote your own business on your own YouTube channel? I don't think so. Sir, do you prefer T5s over LEDs? Any reason if so? No reason. I don't prefer one or the other. Both are good. Both work. Whatever blows your hair back. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. I like that. Blue Duck. That's a cool statement. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. Totally. That's brilliant. That should be a t-shirt. It's okay. Look at this one, you guys. This is what I'm talking about. This one was in the held for review. Who writes like this? Like $signs for every single S? Like, I don't get this. Like, this has got to be like a spam thing. Like, but even if it is spam, I don't get the tactic. Like, does anybody think that that's going to engage somebody? Every single S is a $sign. Almost every single S. Like, what the hell is that? And people send me emails like this too. There's another one. Yeah, here we go. All caps. Like, who wants to listen to that? It's like you're screaming at me. It's like, all I want you to do is that. It's like, dude, I can't even look at that. This one was also in that hell. I wonder if the YouTube also filters out all caps. Like, look at this nonsense. Who writes like this? I get the odd email like this, and I'm always like, I don't even respond. It's like, I don't want to be yelled at. Who the hell would write like this? Last one from Brett's Grasscapes. I'm quitting YouTube, but I'm making video talking about it. Make sure you sub to my channel and like. I don't know why anybody ever thought it's so. This video is a perfect example of how people only read the title and don't actually read the content or listen to the content. So I did say in the title, why I'm done as a YouTuber, not clickbait. It is clickbait. That's a joke. I'm being ironic. But when I said why I'm done as a YouTuber, if you would have actually listened to even the first 30 seconds of the video, I said explicitly, I put context to what I meant by being a YouTuber. So I didn't say I was getting off YouTube. It's so funny because it just shows in this era of clickbait where everybody just reads the title and maybe the first few sentences, and then nobody goes in the article. It's the same like the mainstream media does it all the time, because the mainstream media has been subjected to the same clickbait algorithms as everybody else. And so all these news making websites, barely any newspapers anymore, they all get paid advertisement money based on clicks. And so they get clicks by doing a flashy thumbnail, a clickbaity type title, and then an inflammatory first paragraph. And then the rest will provide the greater context. So you can often read any of these sort of articles that maybe talk shit about somebody like Jordan Peterson, and it'll be exactly that formula: clickbait thumbnail, clickbait type title, something really inflammatory in the first few sentences or paragraph, and then the rest they'll expand it, but nobody finishes the article. Everybody just reads the headline and then comments according to that. So this gentleman here just displays this perfectly. It's like, dude, you saw the title and made a comment. Congratulations. You didn't even get past the first 30 seconds. So that's what I'm dealing with, you guys. Let's so I'm done with that. And then let's finish up some of these comments, and then I will wish you all a good weekend, though it's not the weekend, but it's coming up. So let's see here. We have been hijacked by corporations. If you study what the oil cartel has done, you would lose your mind. The rise and stall of the piston system. Man, it's a rabbit hole with anything. It isn't just oil. Like it's the monetary system. Like that's the thing that, you know, I was suspicious of how the left got co-opted by it. Because I remember when the Occupy Wall Street thing was happening, they were literally marching on the Federal Reserve. They were literally calling out the money masters and saying, this sham's got to stop. Let's end the Fed, all that. It's where sort of libertarians and liberals actually intersected. And this was sort of the last straw of unity. That whole thing got co-opted. I don't know by who and I don't know how, but that message died. And then it was all like, let's screw the rich. Let's screw the 1%. But it's like the people that print money aren't the 1%. I'm actually in the 1% technically. I'm in the 1%. Worldwide, I'm easily in the 1%. I think even in Canada, I'm in the top 10%. And that's actually not that hard to do, believe it or not. I'm not a millionaire, but I've done well for myself because I've worked my fucking ass off for the last 10 years and haven't taken any time off until now, where I can have time to do these kinds of things. But when that whole narrative got changed to let's go after the Federal Reserve to let's go after the 1%, that's when I started to go, there's something going on here. That whole leftist thing, and then how the left championed Hillary Clinton. I was like, you guys are insane. The Clintons are the most evil and corrupt, some of the most evil, not the most, some of the most evil and corrupt politicians on the face of this earth, and they're involved in all kinds of shit that, if it ever comes out, will blow people's mind. But I can't believe people wanted to have Hillary Clinton. It's so corrupt. And people say that about Trump, but not really, because Trump wasn't in politics. Trump was just a businessman. Yeah, he played some dirty business for sure, but not on the taxpayers' expense. He might have got, you know, tax benefits and all that, but all those things are written into the tax code. Like that's government, not Trump. And I'm not going to die on the cross defending Trump, but it's like when I look at what's going on in the U.S. and what's going on here, I think I like what's going on in the U.S. more. It seems like there's finally a move to go back away from this insanity that the pendulum has just gone too far. Like it's just the left has gone way too far. And I don't think there's going to be a hard to the right. People think that's what Trump is, but not really, because Trump's not like a libertarian. Trump's not like super freedom orientated guy. He is in some ways. He's definitely deregulated business. Like my LLC, I own an LLC in California through a corporation. So I play the corporate shell game too, because you just have to legally to be a Canadian and do business in the U.S. So I own a corporation in the U.S. And when all these people are saying, "Oh, Trump is cutting taxes for the rich," he's cutting taxes for small business. I own a small business in California, and we got a significant tax cut. So like most people operate LLCs. Like in the States, if you're a small business person, most people operate an LLC. So we actually cut taxes for the poor or the middle class. Like, well, I don't know why people think that's so bad. Like, the U.S. is insane. I've driven through 20 states this summer. Every single interstate highway I've been on has been under construction. So if Bernie Sanders got elected and that happened, everybody would be celebrating that. But Trump's done that, and nobody says anything. It's like people aren't true to the facts. They're just true to their own worldview and their own ideology, and then everything goes through that filter. It's like I just try to look at the facts, and there's a lot of good things happening in the U.S. The fact that they got out of the climate summit, that was good. That was really good. Bureaucrats in Europe cannot do anything about the environment. They're useless. People often forget the greatest permaculture slogan, which is think globally, act locally. If you are concerned with environmental catastrophes, follow that statement to the end. Think globally, act locally. There's no permaculture in the idea of thinking globally and acting globally. That's how we create more monoculture. Big government is a big monoculture. People want global government, the European Union, potentially the African Union. They tried to do the North American Union here a while ago, but that whole thing got kiboshed. That's monoculture. Little countries is good. I would love to see Canada split up into like 1,000 countries. I'd love the Okanagan, my little bioregion here, to be its own country. And then we can do things specific to the needs of people here, because everybody has their own context. And that's the most important thing to understand, is that everybody has their own context, and big government cannot understand the context on the microcosm. It only understands the macrocosm, which does not serve the needs of individuals and people living in small communities. So I think that's worth talking about. Bernier 2019. You know what, Josh? Yeah, I'm in. I'm voting for Bernier for sure. I actually gave up on voting. No, the last election was the only election I didn't vote in. I voted in every other election since I've been 18. I don't believe in the system. I don't believe in government. I don't believe in the Queen and how the Queen basically owns every one of us, and we're slaves essentially to that scene, or to that system. However, having said that, maybe I'm a hypocrite to say this, but I think changing the culture of politics would be good, because politics is downstream from culture. So if politics can help change the culture, and I think that's what Bernier is doing. I don't know if Bernier will get elected. I'm still going to vote for him. But I think just by him having him in the major debates, which he is now, which is I'm very excited about, is going to get these ideas out, because he's the only politician that actually is talking about somewhat real shit. I mean, in my opinion, a real politician would get up there and say the whole thing's a sham. We don't actually even have to be a slave to the Queen. But nobody's going to do that, because that actually goes against their own self-interest. So no politician's really going to say that. But Bernier at least is saying small government, less taxes, less regulation. So I'm all board. I'm on board with that, and I hope that he gets a lot of votes this year, and I'm going to vote for him for sure. Soy Boys sounds like a good name for a punk rock band. Yeah, maybe it would have been in the 90s, but I think if you called yourself Soy Boys now, you'd unless you were performing to like social justice warriors all the time, then you're in a crowd of soy boys. And so pollution is real, I believe, man. Climate science is mostly BS, and I'm not sure some humans have 1/100th of the effect as I agree. You know, it's funny. I was hanging out with an older friend of mine the other day, and he's one of these guys who thinks he's really smarter than me because he has more academic credentials than I do, and he works in bureaucracy. And I told him that I thought the whole climate change thing was BS. I didn't say that climate change is BS. I just said like the whole fear mongering thing is BS. And he was like, he just had this such disappointed look on his face, and he totally thought I was an idiot. And he was like, okay, do you want me to explain to you the climate change, the climate science? And I go, okay, man. I had my daughter with me too, as I'm holding my daughter and we're playing, and she's hugging and kissing me. And so I sit down, and it was so condescending the way he delivered it to me, but I listened. And he goes through this whole spiel and thinks he's so smart to explain it all to me, and then talks about all the different gases that contribute to the greenhouse effect. And so he didn't even tell me he was describing this greenhouse effect. And so I said, so you're describing the greenhouse effect. I know how the greenhouse effect works. And I said, what can you tell me actually what the most, what the gas or what the part that makes the greenhouse effect the most, what am I trying to say? Tell me, of those gases, what is the thing that makes the greenhouse effect the most effective? And he said, well, I don't know. I said, dude, it's water vapor. Everybody knows this. This is written in the science. Carbon is actually just a theory that it causes the greenhouse effect. Water vapor is the only thing that we actually do know, at least from the science I've seen, that actually causes the greenhouse effect. Because the way I put it to him is I said, well, I have a lot of friends that are farmers around the world. In fact, thousands. And I've been in a lot of greenhouses that pump carbon into the greenhouses. Can you tell me why, if you pump carbon in the greenhouse, it doesn't make it warmer? And he didn't have an answer because he doesn't know, because nobody knows. The fact that they say carbon makes the world warmer is actually just a theory. It's not proven. Water vapor certainly does, and that's clouds. And there's no debate there. Anyways, it's frustrating. The rig that is churning out profit behind the climate change is what they somehow don't see. Exactly. And it's, you know, what's funny too, is like, I've listened to a lot of scientists who are on the other side of the climate change thing. So they're basically saying, you know, a lot of science is BS or whatever. And it's funny, when the left goes after those people, they always try to just attack their character. They do the classic ad hominem attack. They just go after the individual. That's a tactic that was sort of made popular by a man named Saul Alinsky, who wrote a book called Rules for Radicals, which you should read. It's very enlightening. He actually dedicates the book to Satan right in the front of it, if you can get a first edition, which I find very interesting. But that's one of his tactics, is you just attack, only attack the person, never attack the ideas, only attack the person. And that's what the left does. The extreme left. There's tons of moderate lefties. I don't have anything against people on the left, just extreme ones. And that's what the radical environmentalists do. And that's what makes me see that it's just bullshit. It's just, they're trying so hard to push this lie that they just have to attack people, and they can't actually win in a debate. Because if they did, there would be a consensus on climate change, but there's not. In my opinion, from what I've seen, most people don't buy into it. If you go into a university, yes, everybody buys into it, because that is the ivory tower, closed loop of people that all share the same ideas. But in the public, go talk to farmers, go out to farms outside of cities. They don't buy it. They don't buy the politics on it either. So science is not settled. The debate is not settled. And that's why they constantly attack individuals. These that say anything against it, they try to dig up anything on them to show, oh, look at, they're getting corporate funding. But nobody goes at all the other scientists, the supposed 97% who get government funding. So if there's a conflict of interest, the point I'm trying to make here is you have to really apply first principles here. If there's a conflict of interest that somebody who gets corporate money is compromised and their opinions and studies are no longer valid, how is it not the same if you get government money? Because the government unanimously wants to prove that climate change is man-made and can be stopped by big government funding. So it doesn't work out, right? Like you can't apply the same logic. So I think that's suspicious, and that's why I don't buy into the BS, is because the whole thing is so politicized. But again, I'm all for being an environmental steward, and we should be, and we should do the best we can. But go back to the permaculture slogan: think globally, act locally. And if you follow that through, there's no way that sending trillions of dollars to some bureaucrats in Europe make any sense. That's monoculture. That's monoculture up there. This is diversity, small farming, small communities. These are the things that are actually sustainable, in my opinion, not this monolithic thing that has one solution for everything. It's much more complicated than that. And we can solve pollution issues, and we can actually do that on a local level. There's a lot of these things we can do locally, and we can do with one another, with how we live our lives and the decisions that we make in our day-to-day lives. Karen Kane, the debate is settled. Really? I don't think so. There's a lot of scientists that don't. You have your opinion, fine, but you are out of your depth here. I wonder why I can't send this. You did. I can see it. But no, the debate is not settled. There's no such thing as a settled debate. There's not even settled science on gravity. When they started saying that, and people said the science is settled on climate change, that's actually when I first opened my mind to how sketchy that was, because nobody says that in science. There's never settled science like gravity, how sound moves, how there's no science settled on everything. There's some things that we can say, yeah, this is a pretty good chance, but climate change is not one of them. There's a lot of scientists that dispute this, and the climate has been changing for a long time, and it will continue to change. And if you think government's going to do anything about that, keep dreaming. Gravity is a theory. Yes, it is. Earth not being a globe. Oh man, we get into the flat Earth stuff. Yeah, you guys lose me on that one, I have to say. Earth not being a globe, leaving the masses hypnotized is the problem that allows the government. Maybe. I don't know. I've got a friend, one friend. I have one friend who's a hardcore flat earther, and I respect him a lot, and he's a very smart guy, and I don't disregard him because he believes something that I think is not true. The way I put it with that is like, what are you going to do about it? So let's say the Earth is flat. What's step one? What do you do? Tell everybody the Earth is flat? I don't think so. That's not going to work. Look how hard it is to tell people that the whole climate change hysteria is insane. Look at the flack that I get for that. Could you imagine going around and telling people the Earth is flat? It's like, let's pretend it's true. Let's just pretend for the sake of the argument it's true. Where do you go next with that? Because it's basically social suicide to go out and tell that. And I just don't see any practical application of that knowledge. Whereas I see practical application to say, yeah, climate change hysteria is insane, because then we can wake more people up to the fact that the super rich, the super elite in the world, the 0.0001%, the sort of 5,000 or 8,000 people who run the world, benefit greatly with the whole climate change narrative, because it's just another way to scam poor and working people out of money. And it's the same old scam. One of the only leftists that I really still appreciate is Noam Chomsky. Actually, I still like Chris Hedges. I don't agree with everything they say, but Noam Chomsky has a really brilliant saying. He says, I'm not saying it verbatim, but he says in the 21st century, it is getting harder and harder to coerce people. And so I'm kind of summarizing it. You need to have more subversive ways in order to coerce people. And I think that's absolutely true. The old, you can't have a absolute iron fist dictatorship anymore, at least in the West. You can't. And people say Trump is. No, he's not. That's just BS. Trudeau is more of a iron-fisted dictator than Trump is. So you need to have more subversive ways, and so they do this through things like climate change. They do this through political correctness. They're eroding away our freedoms by pandering to a minority, and then using that minority to be this really noisy, squeaky wheel to convince everybody that there's a problem with something that isn't a problem. I think that's with, all these social justice issues and all these climate change issues and all this is just to convince people the world is going to end. We're living in this repressive white male patriarchy, and it's like, it's insane. It's just they've actually made racism popular again, which is, I find absolutely insane. I love how so many of you guys are switched onto this stuff. I have to say, I see the vast majority of comments of people agreeing with me, and that's cool. But having said that, maybe it's because all the people that didn't agree with me left the chat, and so all that I have left is an echo chamber. So that could be possible, but I'm pleasantly surprised. T. Petch Arkle, I don't know how to say that. Climate change is a Rockefeller/Ford Foundation product to profit off. Hi. No, she went out somewhere. Absolutely. I'm just doing a YouTube live session. Is a Rockefeller/Ford found project to profit off and squeeze small energy producers with carbon tax. Totally. Actually, one of the things that's funny about the carbon tax is it actually hurts a lot of the farmers that shouldn't be hurt by it. So case in point, a friend of mine, Andrew Mans, who runs, you guys saw some videos with on YouTube, but I did a lot of stuff with him from the field. Amazing regenerative large scale farm, is like the perfect model of where regenerative farming should go as far as like large scale vegetable organic ag. And the guy got pinched by the carbon tax. Their margins are so thin because they do so much R&D to further these ideas of regenerative agriculture that they have razor thin margins, and the damn carbon tax almost put them out of business. So it's insane. Hey, I'm on a YouTube live. Were they supposed to meet you here? Maybe they were to meet you somewhere else. She took off like 5 minutes ago. Okay, it will be next. Flat Earth, chemtrails, 9/11 stuff, and Jimmy Hoffa. Not Flat Earth. I'm not in on that one. I kind of like that one's just a bit too much for me. I actually looked because my friend who's super into it showed me all this stuff on it, and I read it because I'm open-minded, but it just doesn't make any sense. It to me, it's just, it requires too much of a leap of faith. You know, it's like, it's kind of like religion in that way, and you know, whatever, nothing against religion, but it's kind of crazy. 9/11 chemtrails. Yeah, I'm there. I definitely think 9/11 was staged, but that's not my wheelhouse. The environmental stuff is more my wheelhouse because I'm a farmer. Check out the Club of Rome on climate change, dude. I'm with you. I know all about that. I've been into the John Birch Society and stuff like that for a long time. People don't realize how much I've read on this stuff, like a ton. And both sides, because I used to be a hardcore leftist. I used to be a hardcore Marxist, really hardcore environmentalist, all that. Not a social justice warrior, because I always made fun of political correctness. Even when I was a lefty, I made fun of political correctness. But I was there for the most part. But yeah, I know all about the Club of Rome. I mean, people can just search the stuff. Like, the whole thing was made by the Club of Rome. And all this stuff goes way back. Neil deGrasse Tyson says Earth more like a pear. Yeah, I don't know about that Neil deGrasse Tyson. He kind of annoys me, actually. I remember when he... see, I'm one of these guys that still likes Elon Musk, and I don't think Elon Musk is part of this big evil conspiracy. But people maybe more on my side of thinking do, and I get slack all the time for driving a Tesla. They're like, oh, Elon Musk is trying to put 5G all over the world. It's not true. What did this, that, and the other? Oh, he's subsidized by the government. It's like, who isn't subsidized by the government? It's hard to blame a big corporation who pays so much damn tax to not take some government money back based on the amount of tax that they paid. So I like Teslas. I like electric cars because I just think they're better. I don't think fossil fuels are evil. I don't think carbon is a pollutant. But at the same time, gas-powered cars do stink, and there are particulates that cause pollution in there. I think there's ways to fix that for sure. But I just think electric cars are better. I like the idea that my car can charge from the sun, and it's cheap as hell to drive, and it's fast as hell, and it's safe as hell, or safe as heaven, maybe I should be saying. But I think I like it. I mean, I like the green tech. I just don't like the green racketeering and the sort of soft green fascism. Oh man, you guys, the flat earthers, man, you lose me there. I've looked into it. I really have. I really gave it a lot of consideration, and it doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up because it doesn't even fit into even if you're like say you're into a lot of the conspiracy stuff, more of the fact stuff, not the theories. But if you look at the facts, the history of conspiracies, and you kind of follow that through, I just don't see how the flat Earth thing fits into any of that. It's just craziness. How do I feel about government mandated vaccinations? Terrible, terrible. That's fascism. That's absolute fascism. We didn't vaccinate our kid, nor will we vaccinate our next. But we're free range, right? Like we're not factory farmed animals. I think for the factory farmed animals, the people that are in the public system, you know, the public, the government daycares and all that. That to me, that's factory farming. Like that's just like close quarters, cooped up, not the way humans were meant to live. I get why you would vaccinate your kids if your kids were in that circumstance, but our family's free range. Like we're not in the public government systems. My daughter spends most of her time outside and in the garden. She's not crammed up with a bunch of other kids. She never gets sick. We eat a very highly probiotic organic diet. She's been sick once for 2 days. She has a very good immune system. So it's context. So I think the vaccine conversation just comes down to what's your context. And we're free range, right? So I kind of look at everything in that lens now. Like where's the factory farm, and then where's the free range? So I'm always trying to go towards the free range, and it's taken me a lot to set myself up so that I can do that. But I'm glad to be here because I looked when our daughter tried to, or not, when our doctor tried to really push us on this MMR vaccine. We read the literature, and we're open-minded to any side. Like we're not necessarily, we didn't come in with a bias one way or the other, but we read the literature about the vaccine. In fact, all the literature that the government provided showing all the side effects. And I'm reading all these side effects. 1 in 10,000 chance of this, 1 in 1,000 chance of this, blah, 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 all these things. And then I've listened to hundreds of testimonies of people who got the MMR and got bad reactions, and so on and so forth. Though I know that's not necessarily data, but it is relevant to my decision. And I said, why would I take the risk? Measles is nothing. I had measles when I was a kid. It lasted 5 days and I never got it again. They used to have measles parties up until like recently. People had measles parties. I know some families here that got all their kids together who had measles and made sure they all got it so they never got it again. So I'm not worried about that when I weigh the cost benefits. But again, it's context. Vaccines aren't my context because our kid is free range, and we've worked hard to provide that lifestyle. So she's not in the factory farm. So they're trying to push public schools to vaccinate. That's not a fight that I would bother getting in, because I think in a way it just creates more incentive to not put your children in public school. So I kind of like the idea of that, actually. What happened? Did she tell you that she was going to be here?
No, we were just there.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, have at it. Oh, nice. Good. She'll be back like any minute. So,
Oh, is she?
well, she just walked around. I think she just went. Oh, is the car gone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe not then. Okay, guys. Good to see you. Sorry, that was some friends just popping by. Sure that wasn't chickenpox? No, I had measles. I had measles when I was a kid. My dad had measles. My mom had measles. My brother had measles. It's nothing. Measles, the propaganda on the vaccine thing is so insane, especially like the CBC here in BC. They just pump the fear machine. And it all makes sense because I understand how the fear machine works, so I'm not susceptible to it. But people in the Western world, like people in the first world, rarely die of measles. It's people in the third world where you don't have clean water and sanitary things. That's when people die of measles. It's not a thing that harms people. So, hey, you know what though? You want to vaccinate your kids? Have at it. Just don't come kicking down my door to do that to my children, because that would be messy. So I think that's very problematic when liberals are thinking that it would be necessary to mandatorily force. Like that is actually technically rape. And liberals should be more on board than this than ever. Could you imagine kidnapping a child, Government coming in, taking your children, and then force vaccinating them. Could you imagine how traumatizing that would be for a child? That's sickening. It's sickening that people on the left have gone that far that they think that's okay. Like I don't even understand. Like, I used to be a lefty and I still consider myself liberal because I'm like live and let live. But I don't see how anybody can think that that would be a good thing to do. Anyways, good comments here. Mad respect from San Gabriel Valley in Eastern LA. Right on, dude. Troy is saying, Curtis, are you investing / planning on growing hemp specifically for medicinal? No, not really. I'd like to. I'm looking for an opportunity to get into hemp as far as like CBD and fiber production. I think that's something that I would be interested in pursuing. Not right now, but down the road. I think it's an interesting enterprise. After visiting Pat Kane down at Clutch Hemp, I'm like very, very interested in that model. I think I like the idea of transitioning, thinking large, right? So this is thinking globally more. And usually when I'm thinking globally, it's ideas that I'm interested in, not necessarily something that I'm going to do. But I do like the idea of transitioning the Midwest of the United States and Canada off corn and soy and getting them growing hemp. I think that those farmers have the equipment and the land to do it, and they could do it and make a lot of money for themselves, which I'd like to see farmers make more money. And they could also provide a product that has a lot more healthy uses than corn and soy. So I'm interested in hemp for that reason. But yeah, totally interested. Not ready to pull the trigger yet. Why is there a global sickness of whores who buy into everything they are told and not what they learn to their own self-directed study? Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't have used that term, but people are sheep, man. Like I've realized this with myself. It's like I'm in an extreme minority. I'm free range, right? So if you total up all the agricultural animals in the world, free range animals are a tiny minority. And I'm free range. I'm like Salatin. I'm a free range animal, and we raise our family accordingly. We're free range. We're not in the factory farm like everybody else is, and so that's the choice we've made. And people on the vaccine thing say, "Oh, Curtis, well, you're benefiting from herd immunity because all those people have vaccinated, and that's why you're not sick." Maybe that's true, but I also paid the taxes on your damn vaccination, so thank you very much. So if you're gonna, get all self-righteous about that, I pay a shitload of tax. So I don't care that whatever the facts are behind herd immunity or not, I don't care. If it works, I paid for it. So I paid for your opportunity to have that vaccine if you want it, but I also paid for my opportunity to not get that vaccine if I don't want it. And I paid for it and didn't take it. So that's my choice. And I really hope that it stays that way. It's an Overton window. It shifted on you. You used to be left, but then the definition of left became so much more left. That's a good point. I think the whole left really moved far to the left. I think I probably stayed the same, though I'd say I'm more right wing in like as far as freedom and stuff like that. I identify with a lot of what people would typically call right wing. I agree with a lot. Like I like a lot of conservative guys. Like I like Larry Elder. Ben Shapiro is like too conservative for me. He's like, I don't know. He just seems like the kind of guy I wouldn't hang out with at a party. Like I wouldn't want to talk to him because he's just so like, he seems like he's got to stick up his ass. Like I saw him interviewing a rapper and his case was rap isn't music. It's like, dude, it's just so lame. Like, it's just so lame. Who cares? Yeah, sure. Some music isn't great. Like Ben's this, super talented violinist, classically trained, whatever. It's like, I came from music. Like I have an education in music. And so who cares? But I like Steve Bannon. I actually really, really enjoy Steve Bannon. I find that dude is like one of the most intelligent guys to listen to, but he's very center. He's not really conservative. He's really center because he's for some policies and he's for other things. He's a populist, but he's more of a populist centrist, really, if you break down what he believes in. Can you at least tell me one thing that you're not buying about the Earth being flat? It's killing me. I don't understand. Yeah, the one of the flat Earth things that I thought was so ridiculous is that they make this claim that they talk about Honolulu, that you can stand on Honolulu, you can stand on the island of Honolulu, and if the Earth wasn't flat, if it was curved, you wouldn't be able to see whatever the next island is from Honolulu, like Molokai or something like that. But you can, and so they go, "Oh, that's evidence the Earth is flat." It's like, no, it's not, because light actually curves on heat, and you can actually see it physically when you see air coming out of a hot vent. It actually warps light. So it's like that one there. But to be honest, dude, like, it's just so, I find it just so silly. I just don't get that into it. Z Woodhouse, hey, thanks for the super chat, dude. Bought the digital tools package and helped me so much. Keep up the great work. Thanks, dude. You're welcome. Yeah, here's the thing too, like trying to convince people of things, like, so I'll tell you guys something. I wrote an article, and I know I'm going to get a lot of haters for this, but I wrote an article recently in Medium. So I publish on Medium every now and then. If you go to Medium and just search Urban Farmer Curtis Stone, you'll find me. I wrote an article about, they have this thing here in Kelowna, and it's all over the world now. It's called Drag Queen Storytime for children under 5. And because I'm more of like a liberal guy, I grew up, like, my brother's gay, and when my brother came out when I was 18, he was 16. I totally supported him. I said, I love you either way. You're my brother. I'm going to stand up to anybody that talks shit to you. And I did. And I have my entire life. And not that he's had much of it, because we live in a pretty liberal place in a good way. My brother-in-law, my wife's brother is gay. I have no problem with that. But this drag queen storytime thing has become this global Western phenomenon. And they did it here in Kelowna. And I wrote an article about it. And the haters, holy shit, when you piss off lefties, they come after you. And I've had this before. I experienced this before. I had some really toxic people come after me once. But anyways, I agree with what you're saying about trying to, somebody's making this comment about, like, waste your time trying to convince people. I agree. Like, I wrote this article about how I just thought it was inappropriate for drag queens to be reading stories to children under 5, because they don't understand the context. Like, I've been to drag shows. Like, I lived in Montreal for 10 years. I've been to Club Mado. I've been to Club Stud. Like, when I used to hang out with my brother, we would go to these clubs, and it was fun. I thought it was entertaining. At the time, it was kind of shocking to me because I'd been introduced to this whole thing. And I get it. Like, I get drag culture. I get the context, and I get it. My thing is, why is that relevant to children under 5? I think that's sketchy to me. I think that's weird. Nobody's having conversations about homosexuality to kids under 5. Maybe some of these crazy lefties are, that they're really trying to get this into their kids' heads early. And then this is why we've got this phenomenon of drag kids. And you got this Desmond is Amazing guy stripping on a stage, 11 years old, with gay men throwing dollar bills at him. It is insane. The demoralization of our society is in full swing. And again, I have no problems with drag queens. No problem with anybody who's into whatever, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. I'm making the case that reading stories to drag queens is not constructive for children at all. I think it's going to confuse them. I think it is, drag queens are raunchy, sexualized, totally obsessed with their own self-image. And I just don't see why it's like I said, I went to the library too. And I talked to the head librarian and had a pretty good conversation about it. But I even said to him, I was like, why don't you guys invite a stripper to come and do a talk to kids? Oh, well, we wouldn't do that. It's like, why not? What's the difference? Why don't you invite the homeless drunk outside to come and do a talk to kids? Well, we wouldn't do that. Why not? What's the difference? If your goal is to educate people that there's diversity out there and there's people are different, there's many other ways to do it. So why don't you do these things? It's because it fits the politically correct narrative of the day. That's why. And I think it's sick. and you know the whole LGBT, the alphabet people, as Dave Chappelle calls them. I love that. Is you know, the acronym is getting endlessly longer, and it's soon going to have a P in it because they're trying to normalize pedophiles, and that's the next move, right? That's the next thing, and they're going to call them pedosexuals, and that's a thing. It's insane. It's insane. It's like the buck stops here. Like, I will not stand for this shit. Like, I have kids. I have skin in the game. I want the best for a lot of people, but like, this is insane. And I went to the event. I went to the drag queen event, and I'll tell you, some people are going to be offended by this. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. When I left there, I was with my brother-in-law, who's gay. We both looked at each other and we're like, it feels like we just came down from a bad drug pit at a really gross party where people were doing really compromising things. That's what we felt like. It was gross because I had my share of partying in my years in Montreal, and it was gross. So, anyways, yeah, right on, guys. Tune in when I'm talking about farming. That's fine. It is horrible to children. Anyways, I got through all the questions I wanted to do. I've been on here for a while. I gotta do some gardening work, and for those of you who don't like these things and want more farming stuff, join From the Field. That's strictly farming. I don't get into any politics of From the Field. It's all about just me talking about specific things that people ask. YouTube is an open platform. This is my soapbox. I'm going to be myself. It's a little bit more of a different platform, and that's how it is. But if you want only farming stuff, join From the Field, because that's exactly what it is. Right on, guys. I will see you. Next live session will be next Thursday on the 26th. And then the next time I do one of these where I just read a bunch of comments, I thought this was fun. I don't know. What did you guys think? Was it fun? Will be Wednesday, November 13th, around the same time, like 3 o'clock. Let me know what you think. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And we'll see you again soon. All right, guys. Take care.